2025, and I'm pleased to say I'm leaving behind a $105 million surplus for the next administration. I want to start by thanking the departments. We've had a string of surpluses. I'll talk about that in a minute. They have been driven largely by huge growth in income tax revenues as businesses come back to Detroit. This year, the surplus came almost entirely from the management of the departments. They actually, in running the department, saved $100 million from what they originally budgeted to spend. So to all the department heads, thank you for this result. But what has been the case is this has been a 12-year partnership between the mayor and Detroit City Council. At no point in 12 years did I ever have an argument with council about we can't be spending more money. They have been full partners. We are all painfully aware of what happens when the mayor and the council tell Detroiters they can spend money they don't have, and you end up losing control with bankruptcy, emergency manager, pension loss. Now, if you go back in time to when I stood in the room with some of these council members in 2014 as we exited bankruptcy, you heard a lot of cynics say, oh yeah, the emergency manager went home and Detroit will be broke and running deficits in no time. But as you can see from this chart, we have 11 straight years of $100 million plus surpluses. We didn't do this once. We did this every single year. And so 2015, 2016, as people were expecting us not to be able to manage our affairs, I give City Council credit. They sat in those meetings and we had real needs in this city for a lot of services. And people came in and said, we want you to spend on this, we want you to spend on that. And the council was courageous in saying, we're going to do this as we can, but we're not spending money that we don't have. Then 2020 hit, and people across the country started running huge budget deficits when the government shut down in COVID. Except in the city of Detroit, we cut our expenses, and we were running surpluses. And then federal help came in. In the case of the city of Detroit, we were already balanced before the federal help, and so we actually had a year where we ran a $200 million surplus in the middle of a pandemic. And what that allowed us to do was put money away for the Retiree Protection Fund because we were very concerned what was going to happen in 2024. The plan of adjustment said that for 10 years we did not have to pay into the pension fund or pay off any of our debt service. And all we heard for years was pension cliff. Detroit's going right back in 2024. And as you can see, in 2024, we paid our pension obligations, we paid our debt obligations, and we ran a $100 million surplus. We just now have the audit in from 2025. We paid our pension obligation, we paid our debt obligation, and we ran a $105 million surplus. I still hear people saying, and I know the media will help us, is, oh, it's going to be terrible when they have to start making their pension payments again. We've been making our pension payments for 2 years, okay? But because council set aside hundreds of millions of dollars in the Retiree Protection Fund, we were prepared for it. And so in addition to the $105 million surplus from this year, we have $550 million in reserves that we have stored up. Make no mistake, you can feel the economy of this country starting to slow down. There will always be ups and downs. But unlike 12 years ago when we came in here with billions of dollars in deficits, we're leaving behind a city that has got the reserves. And when the new mayor sits down in about 3 or 4 weeks to start to prepare for the 25-26 budget, she's going to start out $105 million farther ahead than she thought she might be. But it is totally appropriate that the city council president is stepping into this because city council earned these surpluses and earned these reserves through their diligence every single day. And so let me welcome the new mayor of Detroit, Mary Sheffield.
All right, good morning, everyone. I am extremely honored to be here and grateful for the progress that we have made here in the great city of Detroit. Today's announcement reflects years of disciplined leadership and responsible leadership as well. 11 consecutive balanced budgets and surpluses and more than $500 million in reserves shows that Detroit is financially resilient and well-positioned to continue to rise higher. As I prepare to assume office in just 9 days, I am deeply grateful to be inheriting a city that is financially sound and on solid financial footing. As we begin this next chapter, my administration will work closely, very closely, with our city council to take a thoughtful and transparent approach to how to utilize the surplus funding. My focus will always be clear: protecting Detroit's financial stability, continuing to build our reserves, and making strategic investments that strengthen our neighborhoods, improve essential services, and support long-term growth. I want to acknowledge the leadership of our current mayor, Mike Duggan. If we can give him another round of applause, since this is his last press conference. Our Chief Financial Officer, Tanya Stoudemire, who has been just dynamic throughout this process. And by the way, has been very helpful throughout the transition as well to make sure that we're coming in addressing a lot of the priorities that were addressed throughout the campaign. All of our department heads that are here today and all of the staff as well who did such a diligent job of ensuring that they stayed within their budgetary restraints to make sure that we have balanced budgets as well. And of course, to my colleagues, the Detroit City Council, we have Member Benson, President Pro Tem Tate here, and Member Durhal. I oftentimes say council does not get the credit that it deserves. And coming in as the mayor, I will always have a deep admiration for the work that the council does. So let's give them a round of applause. Yes. For the work that they do. Achieving 11 consecutive balanced budgets and surpluses required discipline, it required collaboration, tough decisions, and a shared commitment to serving Detroit and ensuring long-term financial stability for our city. And as the mayor-elect, the next mayor, I can assure you that it is my goal to ensure that we have 4 more years of balanced budgets and surpluses as well. So thank you to all that are here and looking forward to the work ahead. And we now have the opportunity of hearing from Councilmember Durhal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, it is an honor to be here. This is my last press conference as council member, but also chair of the Budget, Finance, and Audit Standing Committee. It has been just an amazing privilege to work with so many amazing professional individuals who love this city with their heart. I want to say thank you to Mayor Duggan as well for your leadership. Long gone are the furlough days when folks did not know if they were going to get paid or if we would be able to fund city departments. And I equally am happy today because I get to say my favorite phrase my grandmother said: there's no romance without finance. And today is a testament because that love that each individual up here has had for this city, making sacrifices, our residents making sacrifices, has now turned into 12 consecutive balanced budgets. You look at 11 years of growth. And so as this city continues to grow under the next leadership, which working with her has been an absolute pleasure, her vision will carry us higher. And rise Detroit higher, as well as my amazing colleagues who have been here on the council, making sure that this city has been functioning and that residents get the resources that they need. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our Dean of Detroit City Council, who I'm sure, who's been here through the tough times and now the good times, will help continue Detroit's growth. Council President Pro Tem James Tate.
Yeah. Good afternoon, and yes, I am the longest serving member of the Detroit City Council, and yes, I have seen a lot. When I was first elected to the Detroit City Council in 2009, Detroit was already twirling down the drain towards emergency management and bankruptcy due to some financial assumptions and actions that previous city leadership made that did not pan out as expected. When bankruptcy occurred, it was a bit of a reset, but it didn't guarantee that we wouldn't either stay flat or even worse get back and revert back to our bad habits. For us to be at the point where we are today, closing the fiscal year at $105 million in an audited surplus, closing the fiscal year, again, holding more than $550 million in reserves in our 11th straight year of finishing in the black. To get to this point, it took vision and creativity by the Duggan administration. Again, thank you, Mayor Duggan, for that creativity and vision. And it took cooperation and thoughtful scrutiny by the Detroit City Council. In an economy that continues to shift, this level of stability matters and is especially significant given broader landscapes that we are navigating. Our consistent surpluses and strong reserves absolutely bolsters our ability to protect services, avoid crisis-driven cuts, and plan with intentionality rather than in reaction. As we look forward to the upcoming term, I look forward to working alongside my council colleagues, the mayor-elect, to make thoughtful decisions about how we invest these resources. Our focus must remain on the neighborhoods and strengthening our city services and advancing equity so every Detroiter feels the benefits of this progress. Detroit's financial story is not just about recovery. It's about resilience, it's about credibility, it's about the confidence in our future, and I am proud of the work that has brought us here today and committed to building on it in the years ahead. Thank you very much. And with that being said, I'd like to also bring forward another one of those partners who helped make this happen, and that is Member Scott Benson. Come on.
Thank you and good afternoon, and I'll keep this very brief. Once again, it's an honor and a privilege to be here, but it is also an honor to have been here for 11 years, 11 months, and now 23 days as a city councilman for the city of Detroit. And in that time period, we have seen over a 50% increase in our general fund. And so when you talk about incremental steps and fiscal discipline, it is a direct result of everybody who is here today to help celebrate where we are as a city and what we've accomplished. And as has been said, this is about the executive branch. It's also about the legislative branch and fiscal discipline. And so I just look forward to working with the new administration, Mayor-elect Sheffield, as well as my colleagues, to continue to have incremental steps and show the fiscal discipline that the city of Detroit has enjoyed and has now come to expect. And with that, Mayor Duggan.
All right. So now I get to bring up our leader, our great Chief Financial Officer, Tanya Stoudemire.
So thank you, Mayor. As indicated earlier, our annual financial audit has been completed and will soon be published. And I am here to certify that yes, we will have 11 consecutive surpluses and we will exceed $100 million unassigned fund balance. I also want to thank the entire OCFO staff, but especially Chief Deputies John Naglick and Regina Greer. And I want to reiterate what you've already heard here, which is over the past 12 years, it has really been a team effort with the mayor, former CFOs, and staff working together with city council and department directors in order to make tough decisions that resulted not only in balanced budgets, but also in surpluses, while providing city services and maintaining our critical reserve funds. As the mayor indicated earlier, council agreed to us depositing $455 million into the Retiree Protection Fund. So those were dollars that could have gone elsewhere, but we all knew that the priority needed to be our retirees. The fiscal year 24 budget surplus comes as a result of strategic spending by virtually every department head that you see here. So I really appreciate you all doing that, because this was one year when our revenues met the budget, so there was not really a surplus that we could count on with our revenues as we have in the past. So really, this $100 million is the result of our departments being strategic with how they managed their departments, how they spent their funds, and I really appreciate all your hard work. Our goal is to continue down this path of strong financial management while making wise spending and data-driven investment decisions, which ultimately benefit residents and visitors. Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership and support for the past 12 years. It's been a pleasure working with you. I've learned so much, and I'm hoping to take those skills, further along in my career. So thank you.
And with that, we'll take any questions.
Well, I'm here.
All right, Charlie, you got right up at the front like it was a concert there.
I was using it to write on, but I'll ask the first question, Mayor. In 12 years, or in the future, perhaps, maybe this is for others, but has there ever been a thought about eliminating or reducing the city income tax? And if that would happen, would that encourage more people to move in the city or work in the city?
Again, so at least the priorities of the last 3 years of mayor and council have been to cut the property taxes. Right? We cut the property taxes 1 mil a year ago, another mil a year ago, 3 mils this year, a $5 million property tax cut. And I think for most people, the property tax is what is most out of whack. But whether the next mayor wants to take on the income tax, I will turn it over to her.
I mean, I think the mayor was right. We've talked about throughout the campaign, and what I've heard on the ground was most important is reducing property taxes in Detroit. But what is equally important is finding new and innovative ways to generate revenue for Detroit, and that is something that our administration will be focused on as well.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hey, Mayor. Nick Manscreen, Detroit Business. Just wondering if you could, speak a little bit to, kind of what went into the, fiscal management to continue these, surpluses. Specifically, it kind of sounds like maybe, I don't know if cuts is the right word, but how specifically how you did it.
When the first year we sat at cabinet, and it had been so long, I don't know how many years, but a dozen years since the city actually had an honest surplus, that it wasn't foreign to everybody. And what I said to the team was this: we're going to balance the budget every year. And we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. Balancing the budget is the price of admission before you start to rebuild the parks, before you start to build affordable housing, before you start to do rec centers, you start to give police officers raises. And we are going to put in honest revenue projections, and we are going to have every department head meet their budget. And every month, Tanya Stoudemire and her predecessors are with the department heads, making sure they're on track. It's the kind of discipline that a good organization does. Now, I can't tell you I thought we'd be seeing $100 million a year surpluses, but much of that came because of the Jeep plant, the Amazon facility, all the boom in the economic development that drove our income tax revenues. That certainly helped us a lot. But I'm so proud of this team this last year. We knew with the economy slowing, the revenues weren't going to be there. And for them to have managed every single day, knowing it was going to be tighter this year and still produce this kind of result, I'm just really proud of these department heads.
Thank you.
Hi. Thanks for having this. I just wanted to make sure I have these numbers correct. So my colleague in September wrote, I think you had a news conference then, you projected a $60 million surplus for fiscal year 24-25.
Right.
Of that, $42 million was set aside for the corporate income tax reserve fund. That left $18 million. So now has that $18 million grown to 105?
Yeah. So the answer is yes. We had 60 plus the 40 we set aside. If you go back to the tape of that press conference, CFO Stoudemire stood up and said, this is conservative. I suspect when the audit is done, this surplus is going to grow considerably, and she proved prophetic. So we were not going to stand up here, and we have never told you we had more money than we wanted. So the CFO gave you a conservative estimate. Now we have the official independent audited number, and it has come out to this. And if you want to ask the CFO about the details between what adjustments were made between then and now, she can answer them. But yes, the surplus is bigger.
Just a broad question on that. So 5 times the growth, all from savings within departments?
No, it wasn't 5 times.
Oh, 18 to 105, but anyway.
Yeah, so what you're seeing is that there were expenses that departments had that were, we were able to reclass to our bond dollars. So some of that surplus is related to our ability to be able to reclass expenses that are eligible for bonds. So that's why originally we thought we were going to be closer to 60. But as we looked at our spending and we do a very, we drill down on every single expense. And there are expenses that can be eligible for bonds, and then we would move those there, which then drives up our general fund surplus. So that accounted for about 40 million
Okay.
of what you see here.
Okay, great, thank you. All foreign language to me, but I will figure it out when I listen back on the recording.
So this is relatively simple. The CFO knows that if she came up here in the summer and said, we're going to run a $120 million surplus, and we stood here and said 105,
Sure, yeah.
I was going to be really mad at her.
Yeah.
So as you have seen for 11 straight years, they have been conservative and have beaten the budget every single time. I think most people in Detroit would appreciate us being conservative and over-delivering as opposed to over-promising.
And then for that 11-year period, is it accurate? I've heard this said numerous times, and I think it might be accurate based on my read. Is it accurate to say that there's actually been a dip in city revenues when you factor in inflation?
That's absurd.
Since we got out of bankruptcy.
I have no clue where you could have heard that from. Our income tax revenues have grown from 200 million to 400 million. Our gaming revenues have doubled. So again, I don't know what your source is.
Okay.
But your source does not reflect reality. The revenues have, the reason we have all this growth has been that the revenue has dramatically outpaced what we expected. So at the bankruptcy hearing and the plan of adjustment, Judge Rhodes required both Council President Brenda Jones and me to testify. And we testified that we were going to sign up for a plan that said income tax was going to grow at 2% a year for the next 10 years. Our income tax revenues have grown between 6 and 7% a year through that time, and that's what generated the great majority of those surpluses. Our revenues are run way ahead of projections.
All revenues?
Well,
Not just
certainly
income.
the income tax primarily and the gaming tax secondarily. I think we're up a little bit on the revenue sharing. Do we?
Okay, yeah, I just.
Yeah, but it's primarily income tax overwhelmingly, and then casino gaming taxes a little bit above on property taxes. But it was really income tax that drove this.
Okay. Final question. This is for Mayor-elect Sheffield. You know, there have been so many. We're in a very variable time with the national landscape, and I wonder if, like, through the transition process or otherwise, if you have thought through what the likelihood you may have to make any cuts moving forward is.
So we have a committee that is tasked with the finances of Detroit with subject matter experts who are convening now. We plan to release our 100-day action plan within the first week of January. Of course, we want to remain the course that we've been on, which is trying not to do cuts or have any direct impacts to our employees within the city of Detroit. And so we will be very strategic and thoughtful in how we move forward.
Is that something you are, like, have you thought through anywhere you might make cuts? Like, is the thought process that far along?
No, we're trying to preserve as much as we have here and not cut. But be more so innovative in our approach and how we, again, can generate revenue to Detroit and provide relief for Detroit residents, not harm. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
She took my last question, so I just want to say Will Jones from Channel 4, and that was my last question about the financial challenges ahead. And if you can add anything to that, or if you just think your statement as is.
I mean, the reality is we know that we live in politically challenging times. I think today press conference shows that financially, though, we are stable. We have $500 million plus in reserves. We have a $100 million surplus. I am very frugal myself. I've served in the council for 12 years, so financial management is of the utmost importance to me. And with this council and with the department leadership, I am very confident that we will move forward in a positive direction that will continue the city services that we've been receiving. And only thing that I'm focused on is how we enhance and now ensure that Detroit's resurgence now goes deeper into our neighborhood and touches more people. So I am not thinking about cuts. We are going to form relationships and more partnerships to address the numerous needs that the city has in Detroit. I do want to mention, actually, though, Member Durhal will be coming on board with the administration. Breaking news. And his his task is going to be helping with those relationships in Lansing. A lot of the things that we're going to have to do will touch Lansing, and he has a wealth of experience and knowledge around building those relationships and those partnerships to bring resources and funding back to Detroit. So congratulations, Member Durhal, and looking forward to him joining in our administration as well.
Would he be able to come up and share some of his goals for this new role?
Since you're now responsible for no future cuts.
Yes. Wow, it's a lot. But no, it's just an honor to have the ability to continue to serve our residents, particularly under someone who is great as our next mayor. We laugh because we remember during the campaign trail, a lot of our opponents, and we'd be at these same debates, would say that we're not fiscally strong here in the city and that we're not stable. And we would turn and look at each other and laugh because we understand the reality and the numbers and how hard this administration and the council has worked. But I think in the next step for her vision that she has for the city of Detroit, a lot of those roads lead through Lansing. Will be ensuring that we're getting the necessary funding to keep our city going and keep it strong for administrations to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Elaine Rojas Castillo, CBS Detroit. Mayor Duggan, I gotta ask you, we've heard a lot about throughout the last couple of weeks and months about passing the baton, but giving Mayor-elect Sheffield the tools that she needs to succeed. As she approaches this next phase of her career, you took on a city that was struggling and are leaving it in a good place. What would you say to not only her, but her incoming administration? What should they keep in mind as they approach this new horizon?
I got to tell you, I'm watching the way Mayor-elect Sheffield's putting together her team, and she doesn't need any advice from me. I think she's doing just fine.
Is there anything that you would tell the residents of Detroit as they get ready to welcome a new leader? What would you ask them to give her as she takes on this new role?
Again, I thought I did really well in my last election when I got 75% of the vote. And then in Mayor-elect Sheffield's first time out, she got 77% of the vote. So I don't think Detroiters need any reassurance from me. I think people of this city like the direction this city has gone. They like the partnership between the mayor and the council. They want it to continue to go a lot further, include more people, reach more neighborhoods, and have new ideas. And I feel like in the 12 years that I was here, we reversed what had been a long-term decline. But the job isn't done, and I don't know how many years Mayor Sheffield will serve, but I suspect the job won't be done at the end of her term, and it may not be done at the end of the term of the mayor following. Well, what you try to do is build in the right direction, and then you hope you're lucky enough to have somebody you respect succeed you. And in this case, I'm just extremely lucky.
Thank you.
A question for the mayor-elect as well. What does this achievement do for the city's reputation and image beyond our state, nationally, around the world? What do you hope that this will achieve in terms of the message of what's been accomplished? And ask the mayor the same question as well.
I think it just continues to speak to the resurgence of our city, that the leadership is strong and stable, that we have good financial controls, that Detroit is ripe for investment, and that it's a great place to live, to grow a family, and that with the ability now, with the amount of reserves and surplus that we have now, that we can take that resurgence and momentum deeper into our neighborhoods. And I think one of the things that our administration will really be honing in on is marketing Detroit in our perception. Detroit has drastically changed. It's not the same Detroit it was 12 years ago. And the more that all of us can play a role in getting out the narrative that Detroit is a thriving city. It is a city filled with resiliency that has undergone amazing growth. I think it is best for all of us. So we will be pushing out that narrative, and I think today just solidifies the overall growth of the city of Detroit.
Mayor, would you add anything to that?
You know, I just remember standing here with the council people who were here back when we were in financial oversight. And the whole tone out of Lansing was the city of Detroit can't manage its own affairs. We have to have oversight. We have to have an emergency manager. Now you look at what's happening in Detroit and what's happening in Lansing, and you wonder who needs the emergency oversight. And with that, I think this will conclude my last press conference.